Homeowners at Wang Fuk Court will each receive a one-off $100,000 subsidy as part of the government's relief measures. Police arrest a man who allegedly impersonates a Tai Po fire victim to obtain allowance. And Japan and China are in a blame game over radar lock onto fighter jets after Beijing reviews audio evidence. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Quentin Yang. Cleanup crews continued clearing burned scaffolding and other debris from the Wang Fuk Court fire, which has claimed at least 160 lives. Meanwhile, the government will offer a special one-off assistance of $100,000 to homeowners and landlords affected by the fire. Jamie Liu reports.
Crane lorries and other construction vehicles were deployed to the Tai Po estate to assist cleanup works, such as getting rid of collapsed bamboo scaffolding and netting. Drones were used to assess structural safety of the buildings. Authorities have said they would remove the fallen scaffolds for a final search. Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Secretary Warner Church announced that the government will provide a one-off payment of $100,000 to the owners of each affected Wang Fuk Court flat. The measure aims to help landlords who rely on rents as their main income source and relieve cash flow pressure of homeowners who invested in maintenance or renovation works, he added. Church also revealed that the government-established support fund for fire victims has raised $3.4 billion, including $3.1 billion in donations. He added that around $460 million from the fund has already been allocated to various relief measures, with some 1,600 households each having received a $100,000 living allowance, more than 100 families of the deceased having a $200,000 solidarity allowance, and more than 60 of those injured having received an extra $50,000 to $100,000. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Police have arrested a man for exploiting the tragic Tai Po fire to steal aid money intended for survivors. The 36-year-old local man was apprehended yesterday in Tai Po as he allegedly attempted to collect another $5,000 from a social welfare organization. Police said he was caught in a sting operation after they received a report last Friday that someone was impersonating a victim of the Wang Fuk Court fire. The man is accused of using a photocopy of another person's identity card to register as a fire victim and obtain a relief certificate. Posing as a survivor, he then fraudulently obtained a total of $13,000 from two social enterprises between November 29th and December 2nd. Police reviewed the ID copy was obtained through a separate deception he committed. The force strongly condemned the act, stating that the suspect took advantage of the community's generosity during a major disaster. The man now faces 4 charges, including fraud and obtaining property by deception. In the shadow of the deadly Tai Po fire, a parallel rescue mission unfolded to save the smallest victims. Volunteer veterinarians and animal welfare groups worked alongside official crews, providing critical care as pets were pulled from the fire-ravaged estate. The scale of animal displacement in the fire is immense. The Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals reported that over 600 animals had been affected. As of last Friday, 516 animals had been located from Wang Fuk Court. Of these, 366 survived, while 150 tragically died. Efforts continue to find the remaining 84 missing animals. Veterinarians like Helen Kwan were among the first volunteers on the scene, rushing to provide medical support. She recounted one volunteer identifying a rescued cat as belonging to a friend who had perished in the fire and burst into tears. In another instance, SPCA staff expressed joyful surprise at finding 2 cats alive deep within a damaged building days later. highlighting the animals' resilience. The organization noted that some missing animals may have survived, but escaped during the chaos. The SPCA confirmed it had requested authorities to leave food, water, and humane traps in the buildings in hopes of recovering any lost animals, and advised owners to monitor their reunited pets for any signs of physical or emotional distress. Authorities have closed the Qingyi nature trails and urged residents not to go hiking in the area after 5 of the city's 10 locally acquired chikungunya fever cases reported visiting the popular spot in recent weeks. Cheryl Yun reports.
Barriers went up at the entrance after the Center for Health Protection confirmed the cluster of infections was linked to the trails. However, the closure did not stop some determined early morning hikers. One woman who reached the trails before the roadblocks were in place said she had no idea the area was being sealed off. Another regular visitor said he would simply wear long sleeves and trousers but was not overly concerned. The Food and Environmental Hygiene Department has intensified mosquito eradication work in the vicinity, clearing around 600 potential breeding sites and treating 80 spots of stagnant water with larvicides and insecticides. Despite the efforts, challenges remain. Albert Au, head of the CHP's Communicable Disease Branch, explained that the trail stretched 7 kilometers through dense vegetation, with numerous fallen trees, branches, muddy patches, and uneven ground that can trap rainwater, making complete mosquito control difficult. Au said the trails are expected to stay closed for about a week to 10 days, but stressed that chikungunya-carrying mosquitoes are unlikely to spread the virus to urban areas as they typically fly only short distances. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Over 100 Guangdong motorists have applied for Hong Kong's new scheme that will allow driving into the city as soon as 23rd this month. Vehicle inspection centers began conducting car checks for applicants. Jimmy Liu has the story.
Southbound travel scheme applicants began to have their cars inspected at 13 designated centers across Guangdong province, including this one in Guangzhou. The inspector first examined the vehicle's steering wheel, brake system and lights, and then looked at the bottom of the car and the wheels to ensure that they have not been altered. The front windscreen glass was also checked for light transmittance, which is required to reach over 70%. The car got a HKE toll tag as the check completed. The process takes about 25 minutes and provides motorists with an inspection result valid for 1 year. A Guangdong motorist was eager to visit Hong Kong in his own car, which he believed would allow him to explore new spots in the city and fresh experience. As traffic rules differ across the border and self-driving cars are more common on the mainland, Guangdong motorists are reminded that auto driving is prohibited in Hong Kong unless officially authorized. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Tensions between China and Japan escalated after Tokyo accused China's fighter jets of twice locking radar on a Japanese aircraft last Saturday, only for Beijing to release audio evidence showing it had warned Japan in advance about the training exercises. Cheryl Yun reports.
CCTV-affiliated account Yu Yuan Tan Tian published a radio exchange in which a crew aboard the aircraft carrier Liaoning is heard announcing in both Chinese and English about impending drills. The Japanese vessel also replied that it had received the notifications.
This is China Navy Warship 101. Our formation organizes shipboard aircraft flight training as planned. Over.
Chinese warship 101. This is Japan warship 116. I copied your message.
Japan's defense ministry had alleged that Chinese fighters locked onto a Japanese jet from around 50 kilometers and 100 kilometers respectively on Saturday. Beijing countered that the Japanese aircraft had deliberately entered a Chinese exercise zone, automatically bringing it into normal radar search range, and that Chinese forces had also detected radar emissions from the Japanese plane. The spat follows Japanese Defense Minister Shinjiro Koizumi's initial insistence that the Liaoning carrier group never issued prior notice of the exercise area. Koizumi later acknowledged the radio exchange took place, but argued the announcement lacked critical details, including exact coordinates and timing. In Beijing, Foreign Ministry accused Japan of deliberately provoking the situation and fabricating claims in an attempt to hype the issues. And the international community needs to distinguish right from wrong and not be misled by Tokyo. The remarks followed U.S. State Department's comment on the incident, criticizing China's actions are not conducive to regional peace and stability. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
U.S. President Donald Trump ramped up pressure on Ukraine to accept his peace plan and accused the country for using war to avoid elections. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he's open to elections if the United States ensure his country's security. Jimmy Liu has more.
In an interview with Politico, Trump took a hard line with Zelensky, who has refused to cede territory to Russia as part of a peace proposal. He suggested it was time for Ukraine to compromise, arguing that Moscow retains the upper hand in the war and that Ukraine is losing.
And they always did. They're much bigger. They're much stronger in that sense. I give Ukraine I give the people of Ukraine and the military of Ukraine tremendous credit for the bravery and for the fighting and all of that. But at some point, size will win generally.
Trump slammed Ukraine's European backers as decaying and weak while failing to control migration and end the Russia-Ukraine war. The U.S. president also accused Zelensky's government of avoiding elections and described Ukraine as not a democracy anymore. Ukraine last held a national election in 2019, and wartime elections are forbidden by law. Speaking during a visit to Italy to meet Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and Pope Leo XIV, Zelensky refuted Trump's allegations. He said he was prepared to hold elections within 3 months if the U.S. and Kyiv's other allies could ensure the security of the vote. The head of Catholic Church said Europe must have a role in any Ukraine peace deal, otherwise it would be unrealistic. The Financial Times reported that U.S. envoys have given Zelensky days to accept a U.S.-backed peace deal requiring Ukraine to give up territory, and that Trump was hoping for a deal agreed by Christmas. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
12 people were killed in a residential building fire last night in the city of Shantou in Guangdong, local authorities said. The fire broke out at around 9:20 p.m. in a 4-story building and was extinguished about 40 minutes later. Local authorities described the structure as a self-built, reinforced concrete building, where the blaze affected approximately 150 square meters. The cause of the fire is under investigation, and police have ruled out criminal activity. Mainland media reports suggest the fire may be linked to the building's non-compliant layout, which combined living, storage, and commercial spaces without adequate fire separation. China's consumer price index grew at a faster pace in November, driven by rising food prices. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the CPI rose 0.7% year-on-year in November, accelerating from October's rise of 0.2% and marking the fastest pace of growth since March 2024, as food costs rose sharply higher, while factory deflation unexpectedly worsened as it extended into a 38th month, with producer prices falling 2.2%. Food prices rose on year for the first time since January, led by a 15% surge in fresh vegetables and narrower declines in meat. By contrast, non-food inflation slipped to 0.8%. Analysts believe the improvement in CPI is still too mild to really change the growth or earnings outlook. Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index closed 106 points higher. Top active stocks of the day: Alibaba was up $2.30. Tencent was up 50 cents. Meituan was up $2.65, and YOFC was up $4.16. Onto the weather now. Mainly cloudy, 1 or 2 light rain patches tonight. The minimum temperature will be about 20 degrees tomorrow morning. Sunny intervals during the day with a maximum temperature of around 24 degrees. Windy in the following couple of days. And that's our news tonight. I'm Quentin Yang. Thank you for watching. Good night.